And we're underway. No turn names here at Circuit of the Americas. But you'll know this one right away. The big, wide turn number 1. Oh, and a big lemon. Well off there. It bottlenecks down to just a couple of lanes here. Contact all through the field as Schulte and Hamby side by side for the lead through turn number 2. We make the wild dash here into the S section. Hamby with the advantage. Schulte rolls out of it, gives the 70 the top spot. Milfeld back to third off the outside pole. It's Lehman back to fourth despite the mistake there, and Charlie Widener right now rounds out the top 5. Rob Haynes right behind him in 6th. And out of the final turn, Johnny Hamby down the pit straight will cross the stripe. Johnny Hamby wins the stage here at COTA, and the caution is out. Johnny Hamby, Andrew Schulte lead the way. Back to green. Milfeld nearly bump drafting here. You got to watch your braking zone. Milfeld off early not to pile into his teammates. Oh, but Hamby locks it up. Hamby's way wide. Widener to the lead. Schulte and Milfeld still come out battling for second. Hamby is back in line in 4th, which is remarkable. But work to do here for Hamby.
Hamby taking a peek.
Here we go.
Here's that same spot.
Oh, nearly contact again.
Oh, there is contact.
There is. He sends the bump up. Schulte driven right down into the rumble strips here in the left-hander. Hamby going to drive around the outside. Schulte fighting back. 11's been Schulte's corner. Can he mount defense here? Schulte going to run right to the inside there. Hamby able to cross him over. Advantage Hamby into 11. Will he make the dive? Will he try the crossover? Nope, it's the dive.
Oh, he's going to spin it out.
And Schulte gave himself room to miss it. 4 truck lengths down to 2. Hamby with a peek to the inside. Schulte parking it there through 12.
Big lock up there from Hamby as well, though.
You're not going to need those tires in 6 more turns. You might as well use them while you got them. Hamby just outside of swipe range if he wants to employ the bumper. Schulte willing the truck, the tires through the final 3 turns of the course. Turn number 19. And one more big slowdown into 20. Hamby closes the gap yet again. Do we get the bumpers? Hamby to the inside. Locks it up. Schulte is wide. But Andrew Schulte is going to hang on to win back-to-back races here in the MaxV CNC Home Design Truck Series. The reigning champ, Andrew Schulte, back to form.
Schulte showing off his drifting skills in the truck right now.
With his worn out as those tires are, that is mega impressive. I can do that on fresh tires.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon deep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
An empty plastic bottle would give you 50 cents. A soda can, 60 cents. A used food container, 80. Wondering why I know this? Because that's my job. I am a trash picker at my school.
Harry, the trash prince is on a roll today. And how is your trashy affair with Bella coming? She lets you kiss her with that stink?
Their words don't bother me. They don't know why I do what I do. And my secret. I edge close to my class when I hear Bella and her friend talking.
You can't be serious, Bella. You want me to break up with him for you?
I would do it myself if his poverty didn't give me the creeps.
You are unbelievable.
I come face to face with Bella's friend. She knew I heard the conversation and couldn't meet my eyes. She hands me the new phone I bought for Bella and walks away. I saved for months to buy her this phone. I walk down the empty corridor with a heavy heart, pick the phone out of the box, slip my SIM in, and switch it on. When... Harry Parker, you have passed the poverty test? You are now the heir to Parker family's billions worth of assets?
If Harry is a billionaire, why does he work as a trash picker? What is his big secret? Why did he not reveal his billionaire status to Bella? To know more, listen to the audio series Destiny Reloaded, only on Pocket FM.
And now, our feature presentation. Welcome back to Turn 200's coverage of the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Tonight is round number 7 of the 2024 season. It's here at Richmond. We're back to the short track fever that we're going to have here for the next couple of weeks. And tonight is the Fasty Fast Racey Race 150 at Richmond Raceway, the 3/4 mile short track here in Richmond, Virginia. Hello, everybody. It's Tommy Cook. Alongside Matt Williamson, the GOAT is back up here in the booth. It's kind of looking apocalyptic in the skies here with the sun setting around Richmond Raceway, but I don't know, a race at a short track like Richmond can feel like an apocalypse at times.
Yeah, it certainly can. I mean, I don't know, with these drivers, you never know what you're going to... I mean, we know what we're going to get this season. It's going to be a great race. But, I mean, as far as cautions and apocalypse goes, I don't know. These guys are pretty good about minding their P's and Q's and putting on a great show for us. So I'm looking forward to what the drivers got in store for us here tonight.
Yes, this race was 25 laps shorter last season. Only 6 cautions, 5 lead changes. It was a race that was dominated mostly by Ashton Crowder, but some other drivers got to lead some laps through some pit strategy as well. Tonight, quite the full field of drivers. I think we made it up to 26 that are going to take to Richmond Raceway. We're going to talk to one driver here momentarily, but in the meantime, who are we following around here as the qualifying laps are underway?
Yeah, we are with Justin Michael at the moment, making his way around on the back stretch of his first lap. Using that high side here, trying to get the momentum down for the second lap. Now he's going to dive to the bottom. Don't typically see this at short tracks where you use the top to get momentum to the down the front straightaway, but quite a bit of banking here at Richmond, and it's worked out. Justin Michael to the top of the board for right now.
Whoops, muted there. One driver. We're going to pull into booth 200 here. Let's see if we can get a word in with Will Kirk before the start of this one here at Richmond. It's booth 200. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Word on the street is that you were the one who picked out the name for this evening's event here. How did that come to be?
I was trying to think of the dumbest thing I could make you guys say throughout the night, and that's just kind of what I landed on. So hopefully I'll have fun with that.
It was a great success, I would say. I'm enjoying it, though. I'm going to trip myself up a few times. This race last season ended rather quickly for you. What are the plans to change that here tonight with some extra laps to run?
Just taking care of the tires. I got all new equipment as opposed to what I had last year, so that's been helping a lot with the tire saving. But yeah, just avoid the wrecks. Don't be in dumb stuff and don't wreck yourself, because I'm sure, as you've noticed, it's slick out here. So just be careful, really, and make it to the end. I think a lot of people are going to make mistakes. So yeah.
Well, we got Michelle hanging out with us in the chat here already. So anybody else who want to shout out?
No, just Mom. Thanks for watching, Mom. You always do. And then my Aunt Marilyn, she watches every single week as well. So appreciate both them for being the best fans ever.
There you go. A solid group of support for Will Kirk here tonight as he gets ready to tackle Richmond Raceway. Best of luck to you here tonight.
Yep, thanks, buddy. Have fun. Appreciate you guys, too.
Alrighty, let's take a look at the point standings here with just a couple minutes to go left in qualifying. We got a new points leader.
We certainly do. We were just looking at him go out for his qualifying effort. New points leader is Andrew Schulte. Schulte able to hang on to the race win last week at COTA, and it was well-deserved. So he goes to the top spot in the points. Charlie Widener only 4 points behind, though. Then Rob Haynes, Johnny Hamby, Heath Smith round out the top 5. And Christopher Howell, Mike Milfelt, Will Kirk sits there in the top 10 as well. We just talked to Matt Burkhart 9th, and Justin Michael sits in 10th. A couple of drivers here have missed a couple of weeks, ones that we would normally that we would think we would be seeing in the top 10. So a lot of drivers, they know it's a long season. They're going to have time to put the races together to get back there. But so some new faces here in the top 10 and some familiar faces not in the top 10 as well.
Yeah, Greg Mall, to your point, slid out of the top 10. Justin Michael barely hanging on by just a couple of points. They're actually tied for 11th behind him, I think 3 points out of the top 10. So Greg Mall slides out of the top 10. Scott Patton not in the top 10. Of course, he hasn't been there all season. But Will Kirk is back in the top 10. Mike Milfeld jumped up 6 spots after his great run at COTA last week. And Matt Burkhart slid into the top 10 there as well. So, and Burkhart qualified awfully good here. With just 30 seconds left to go. I think that's probably about everybody that we're going to see turn a lap here, although Kerry Cleaver might sneak one in. It'd have to be right under the wire, though. Not sure it's going to happen. So 21 of the 26 drivers are going to post a time here for the Fasty Fast Racey Race 150 at Richmond Raceway, round number 7 of the 2024 season for the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Glad everybody's hanging out with us already. Shelly Mall in the chat. Michelle Kirk, Goodleaf Archives. Thank you all very much for spending your Thursday evening here with us in the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series. It's time to rock and roll. Justin Michael has been itching for a win here this season. Some bad luck and misfortune has come his way. Will he be the one on the top step when it's all said and done tonight? Well, we've got quite a ways to go to figure that out. James Lehman going to line up to his outside. He's been awfully quick, but same story. No luck to go with it. Rob Haynes has lost the points lead. He's back to third here on the starting group with Scott Patton lining up to his outside. Matt Burkhart and Johnny Hamby there on row number 3. Matt Montalbald and Heath Smith, the Daytona winners, starting in P8. It's the race sponsor, Will Kirk, starting in 9th, next to Jack Watts, who will round out the top 10 starters. Last week's winner, 3 times the winner this season, the reigning series champion Andrew Schulte lining up in P11. Chris Mulhall is in the field for the first time since the 2023 practice race. This is his first actual points-paying revival race start here with Max V. Hard to believe. Mulhall will start in 12th. Mike Milfeld and Greg Mall, power duo there on row number 7. And then it is Christopher Howell, Willie Evernham on row number 8, Charlie Widener, Wally Turheimer on row number 9, Chris Boyles and Ryan McRoberts then round out the top 20 starters. Michael R. Van, last driver to post a time, in 21st. Bill Paradise, Kerry Cleaver, Brad Slagle down there in 24th. Riley Tilton's been awfully fast this season as well. He's back at 25th. Zachary Groover will be the 26th and final starter here on the grid as we get ready to go for Richmond. Matt, I was a bad boy. I didn't get you any fuel data here. I didn't log any runs at Richmond. We got kind of a busy week here this week with the Thunderdome last night and all that. But regardless, give us your best estimates on how the strategy is going to go here tonight, and let us know what the track conditions are looking like here at this gloomy Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, very gloomy, extremely overcast. Track temperature right now 78 degrees. I mean, still fairly warm for how many clouds are in the sky here. I would not expect it to get to go up anymore. I would expect it to decrease the track temperature if it's going to do anything throughout the session here tonight. We got 200 laps, 150 miles here around Richmond. I'm going to say this is probably going to be a two-stop race. Obviously, caution's coming out. This is a pretty tricky track when you got people all around you. So cautions could be coming out every once in a while here. A lot more than it has so far this season, that is. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires, and I think is the stage rate going to be at lap 50 today? I don't remember.
It's at 30%, so whatever 30% of 200 is, which would be, 60?
Like 60.
Is that how that works? I don't really know. Okay. Rough, yeah. There is a right number somewhere, but I don't know how to do math, so. Everybody at home, whatever 30% of 200 is, that's when the stage rate is going to be. Oh, it is 60.
Should have trusted ourselves.
Wow, I don't trust myself with math. That's the one thing I don't. Very surprised I landed on the right number there. Well, the number that Justin Michael's hoping to land on here today is 1. He's come close a couple of times. A couple of his upfront efforts have ended in disaster this season. Will tonight be the night it all gets turned around? Justin Michael, James Lehman, Bandit Motorsports teammates lead the field to the green here at Richmond. This is Rob Haynes underneath of Lehman looking for second. Lehman with some momentum off the middle.
Oh, somebody loose way in the back already. It's Chris Boyles hard into the inside wall and is just going to take a tow. No caution.
That might be an early end of the night here for Voiles, as across the line, Justin Michael leads the first circuit around Richmond. Still battling hard here for second. Right up against the outside wall is James Lehman.
There are a lot of trucks getting loose throughout the field. Oh, Haynes, a little bit of a bobble there. Patton's going to go around the outside.
Yeah, you heard it from Will Kirk earlier. This track surface is greasy, to say the least, and these are some cold tires. Matt Burkhart going the wrong direction here. He's lost a few spots already. He's got Will Kirk to his outside, trying to hang in the top 10. So Rob Haynes has slipped back to 4th, Patton up to 3rd. Michael leading Lehman.
Lots of action around the track. Burkhart trying to slide in underneath. He slots in behind Will Kirk. Here goes Lehman.
Will Kirk looking for a spot here. As James Lehman looking to make it stick for the race lead, and will. I sound like a broken record anytime we get Justin Michael up front here and the caution doesn't immediately fly. Is this Justin Michael losing tire, or is this Justin Michael saving tire? Or is that just the pace that James Lehman has got right now? Only time and laps will tell.
Michael typically likes to save early on, but he does surprise us every once in a while.
I mean, Justin Michael is overdue for a whooping. I mean, not on the receiving end. He's got plenty of those this season, but dishing it out.
Well, Lehman and Michael have kind of separated themselves from everybody else. From Scott Patton on back, it is just a long, long train of drivers.
Patton, Haynes, Hamby, Montembolt, Smith, Kirk, Burkhart, Watts. The top 10. Chris Mulhall and others still attached to this group. And really, to your point, I mean, it's pretty much the rest of the field back to 21st. That's all in a line together behind the top 2.
Drivers, I mean, early on in these types of races, obviously cold tires right to begin with going to be a little bit sketchy, as Haynes tried to look underneath the Patton. But really, after you get going, you kind of got to wait till tires start to wear out for some folks to really be able to make good moves, especially with the caliber of talent we have here.
Thought Matt Montenbolt was going to be in trouble there. He had to get out of line to avoid piling into the back of Johnny Hamby, but pulls right back in. Pete Smith doesn't force the issue just yet.
A couple of drivers we usually expect to see a little bit farther up in the running order kind of got buried there in qualifying. Points leader and reigning champion Andrew Schulte sits in 12th and actually started in 11th, so down one spot. Greg Mull's down a couple of spots as well. Of course, like we talked about, they could just be saving tires, waiting for everybody else to run them out, as Jack Watts, right in front of Andrew Schulte, got extremely loose there.
Well, it's interesting because Schulte either will qualify and be up front or will not qualify and be the first driver not to post time to bust his way up through the field. This is definitely an unusual position for him, as Chris Mulhall just pounded the wall right in front of him. To be mid-pack pace in qualifying, that's not usually the position that Schulte has to work out of. He usually just chooses not to qualify if he's going to put himself in that spot.
And Schulte going to take advantage of Mulhall getting into the wall and moves into the top 10.
So progress starting to come Schulte's way here. He's on quite the winning streak right now. 3 races already in our 6 completed events, and 2 in a row coming into tonight.
Yeah, that's a floodgate situation there for Schulte. Couldn't get, even in his championship run, didn't get a win until the very last race, and now has just started pouring them in.
So that's 4 of the last 7 races, not including the green flag here tonight, is what you're saying.
Points paying races. Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Yep.
And looking for more. Schulte underneath the 4 of Burkhardt. And where Schulte put himself in qualifying, he really doesn't have a choice. He kind of has to push early on here, but may end up coming back to bite him on the back half of this run. We'll have to see.
Just behind this battle, Mike Milfeld took a swipe at the back bumper of Chris Mulhall. Milfeld, one of the drivers that's doing double duty with us here tonight. We just did the Ernie Brown Memorial race before this at Legacy Phoenix. Scott Patton was in that race. He ran runner-up.
Schulte got up into the wall a little bit there.
And that stacks up Matt Burkhardt and Chris Mulhall behind them. Burkhardt going to have to swing out wide not to get bumped into by Mulhall here. Speaking of Scott Patton, still spacing out for the lead and for second. It's nearly 2 seconds between Patton and Michael.
Burkhardt had to make a big save down to the bottom. Mulhall and Milfeld will get through.
Here's Jack Watts to the outside. This is now for, I think, 13th. Or rather, for 12th.
Right around the top 10 is just a hornet's nest right now. And there's Christopher Howell nearly leaning on that right rear quarter.
Howell led a lap last week at Coda. He's in the top 10 in points. So is Burkhardt. Burkhardt going the wrong direction early here. Speaking of drivers who were in the top 10, rather the top 5 in the points before the last 2 weeks, Greg Mull in the picture there as well. Out of them, Mike Milfeld looking underneath Chris Mulhall to try and get into the top 10. It's the closest battle we've got right now. At least in the top 15 or so. Matt Burkhardt continuing to slide backwards. Charlie Widener, who's second in the points, has just taken that position from him. So a lot of the top points runners in some early trouble here.
Yeah, Burkhardt continuing to. Burkhardt's disappeared.
I was going to say, I think he's out.
Burkhardt lags out of the session. Wow. Things went from bad to worse. It was Had a good qualifying effort, then kind of started slipping back with a couple of mistakes. And Will Kirk got way too high up there in that corner. Schulte goes through. Schulte making moves up to 8th now.
Taking to Simulator Life, hanging out in the chat with us. Quality Racing and Broadcasting. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Martha Terheimer hanging out with us as well. Sounds like Wally's kind of having some connectivity issues, but he's still riding in the top 20. Never officially said that Matt Burkhart left the session, but he is showing me that he's 2 laps down now, so something obviously happened there. Regardless, it's James Lehman leading the race by 2.5 over his teammate, the pole sitter Justin Michael. Looking to put lap 25 up on the board. Scott Patton in 3rd, Rob Haynes sticking close behind him in P4, Johnny Hamby in 5th, Matt Montenbald in P6, Heath Smith, Andrew Schultz, Will Kirk, and Chris Mulhall right now the top 10. Mulhall still has his hands full with Mike Milfelt right behind him.
And the top 5 getting pretty spread out here at this point. 2.5 from Lehman back to Michael, then another 2.5 from Michael back to Patton. Rob Haynes sticking somewhat closer to Patton, and then over a second back to Johnny Hamby.
Problems that we talked about with the tires and riding close, all that dirty air at Legacy Phoenix, you can go ahead and dial that up by about 10%, 25% or so. It's not easy to stick that close for that long, and everybody's had to do it here for this entire race thus far.
Oh, Schulte gets up and tags the wall. He entered a little bit too high there into turn 3. And got tight up off the corner. If you enter a little bit too high, get in a little bit too hot, it can be detrimental. You got to be really careful. But able to recover nicely. He's pulled right up back to the back of Heath Smith.
Heath Smith, the Daytona winner. Schultz has won 3 times here this season.
And there's the big dive to the bottom.
Got it.
We're getting towards halfway through what I think is going to be our scheduled first run for a majority of the drivers. It's going to take us past the... Oh, we have cautions on stage breaks in this series, don't we?
Yes.
I forgot. So we're going to have a caution on lap 60.
We are guaranteed 1 caution tonight. And who knows? I mean, the old adage, of course, that we like to parrot here. Cautions breeding cautions and whatnot. Very well could happen after the competition caution, but things are looking pretty good to make it that far, knock on wood.
Still getting used to that little wrinkle they've thrown in kind of mid-season on us.
Yeah, and I was kind of worried, honestly, to be completely honest with you, that that it was going to break up the racing too much, but nope, it's been pretty good. No complaints.
I would say it's been pretty good. Schulte looking for another one underneath the map. Montenbald, good run, trying to fight back. Not going to send it, though.
Yeah, Montenbald has done a nice job here tonight already. Still riding exactly where he started in P7. It's hard to put up a fight against the series champ.
Starting to see Schulte voluntarily go to that high side to try and get the momentum off the top. Not too many drivers really searching up there right now. Most of them sticking to the bottom or maybe just a half a lane up the racetrack.
It seems like most people that have gone up that direction have done it by accident or by necessity. But you're right, Schulte, I think the first person to really try and look up top there for some pace. Speaking of pace, Justin Michael all of a sudden is reeling in James Lehman big time. It's back under a second to 3/4 of a second. And Michael not going to stop there.
And we're a good portion into this run now. Tire save might be starting to come to the favor of the 87. Oh, and Lehman having to deal with a little bit of traffic there. That seemed like kind of an interesting moment there.
Bill Paradise, he's in P22. We just had another driver lag out of the session. Jack Watts is gone.
Shuffling going on. Christopher Howell just got past Millfeld, but Millfeld, a huge run. Thought he was going to look to the inside. Thinks better of it for right now.
Johnny Hamby and Andrew Schulte here battling for 5th. Hamby, another double-duty driver tonight.
Thought we might see Schulte start to fall off a little bit, having to push through the field a little bit more than he would have liked to, but he is still moving forward.
Well, you pointed out in the first 10 laps or so how quiet he had been, and now we're having quite the explosion for Andrew Schulte, who is, wow, that was wrecking loose there. That was the drifts he was pulling off after the win last week at Coda.
He hung it out there for quite a while, too. It was not a quick, easy correction. It was yawed out for a good little bit.
21 laps until the stage break caution.
Christopher Howell, he roots the 11 of Mulhall up off the bottom. Gives him a little bit of the bumper there.
Welcome back, Chris Mulhall. Back out of the top 10. Justin Michael within 3 truck lengths of his teammate for the race lead.
Been a steady climb here for Michael over the last 10 laps.
Some lap traffic ahead. Willie Evernham, Zachary Groover. They may catch Ryan McRoberts and company as well before the stage caution is thrown. But who will be the leader when they do so? James Lehman, it seems like, in a bit of trouble here, at least to lose the lead.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to take good entries like he wants to here with lap traffic. Had to take a really shallow one there underneath of Evernham. Justin Michael going to have to do the same, though.
And to your point about Bill Paradise a few laps ago, that is the worst place to catch a lap truck here, and Justin Michael just found that out with Zachary Groover to his outside. You cannot... I guess it saves you from heating up that right front tire too much, but you still want the freedom to be able to maneuver there out of turn number 2. Probably my least favorite corner exit in sim racing. Pretty close. Top 3 for sure.
Yeah, turn 2 here is
sucks.
Just treacherous. Some laps you get in there and you start putting the hammer down and it gets awful loose on you, and other times you just go straight up the racetrack tight. Really, it seems, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason. One lap's one way, the next lap's the other. It's tricky for sure.
Yeah, turn 2 here, turn 2 Rockingham, turn 4 Homestead, I think is my bottom 3. It's my poop list. But these drivers are unfazed thus far, working lap 46. We're caution-free up to this point in the Fasty Fast Racey Race 150 here tonight, round number 7 at Richmond.
The advance from Michael has pretty much stopped here over the last couple of laps. As soon as Michael caught that lap traffic, has not been able to make up any more time. In fact, has lost about a half a tenth here this last lap around.
Looking back through the rest of the top 10 here, Johnny Hamby is backed up to Matthew Montalbot, so Montalbot will be looking to regain the 6th spot here before the end of the stage. Not too far behind them, Heath Smith and Will Kirk also battling. That'd be for 8th.
Yeah, and these drivers starting to catch lap traffic as well. That is Paradise. Kirk catching him in that bad spot a little bit. So did Heath Smith.
Oh!
Wow.
Tagged him. Knocking on Bill's door. That will back him up to Christopher Howell here. So Will Kirk still not through with Bill Paradise to his outside.
Yeah, now it has Christopher Howell all over the back of him.
Biggest mover of the race right now, I think, is Riley Tilton, a couple spots behind Howell here. It's up from 25th to 13th.
Yeah, and Howell has been nice and steady here on this first run. Oh, nearly gave the bumper there to the 9 of Kirk.
Well, we talked to Will Kirk pre-race. In last season's race here at Richmond, he only made it 8 laps. So we're already well past that.
Out front, the gap from Lehman to Michael has ballooned back up over a second. So I have to wonder, maybe Lehman was playing the save game as well and has now turned it back on.
And they're in some pretty heavy lap traffic here, although Lehman is clear of it. He's got a while till he catches up to the next lap truck of Mike Milfeld in 15th.
Howell, a huge dive to the inside of Kirk. He washes up the racetrack. Slide job there from the 88.
Yeah, Howell has been employing the bumper here the last couple of laps to try and get this move done. But you know what they say, that's just short track racing, I guess.
He had the run, and he was not lifting. He took it.
So that moves Howell up to 9th, Kirk back to 10th. He's got some separation back to Charlie Widener in P11. Matt Montebault still working on Johnny Hamby here. Hasn't had a great look at a pass just yet, but he's still within striking distance. Should something happen here to driver number 70, the runner-up finisher last week at Circuit of the Americas.
Only about 5 laps left until the stage break. Top 5 or 6, all pretty spread out. Matt Montebault trying to get up to 6. That is pretty much the closest battle on the track right now, other than Mulhall, who is underneath of Tilton.
That is for 12th. Again, Tilton on the march forward after starting all the way at the back of this field.
Starting to get to that point with these tires that it's a little, you can kind of keep your ground on the outside a lot better than you could here earlier on in the first 50 laps. Wow, Mulhall. Oh, Mulhall has pulled down under the apron. He is going to blip the stage here.
Wow. Okay.
Gonna have to. I mean, this is a short track. I don't know. You might have to
It's
get
gonna be a lap down.
Yeah. Interesting.
Also interesting here, I'm sure one driver that's going to be happy to see this stage break is going to be Justin Michael, because he is backed up to Scott Patton in a hurry. It's under a second between Michael and Patton now. It was almost 2.5 at one point. And he's lost a 1.5 seconds to his teammate, James Lehman. All right, pit road entry is closed. There you saw Mulhall pulling off pit road. So he'll be a lap down at least, and not in a position for the lucky dog.
Wow, we have a 4-way battle here coming towards the last lap. All of this for 6th.
White flag for stage. James Lehman, the leader. Battling for extra points here. Inside of the top 10. From Hamby to Howell, 6th to 9th. Andrew Schulte past Rob Haynes as the caution came out. James Lehman will win the stage here at Richmond. Michael Patton, Schulte, Haynes, Hamby, Montenbault, Smith, Howell, and Kirk, the top 10.
I mean, that was a pretty dominant stage there for Lehman. Got out front right away pretty much, and then was able to play the game of saving tire, letting Michael kind of come to him, and then turning it on with the saved tires there at the end and just made Michael fade away quickly.
All right, here we go. Down pit road come the leaders. 16 drivers on the lead lap here. There's that extra turn there in the final 4 pit stalls. Makes the pit entries for the top 4 qualifiers look a bit wonky. And on pit road exit, I think Lehman got it. I think Patton came out second. It was awfully close, though.
I think he did. I think Patton got out in front of Michael, but you're right. It was awful close.
Now, is that Michael giving up that position to stay on the inside here for this restart?
That was certainly not on purpose, I could tell you that.
Okay.
He was gunning it. I mean, they were neck and neck across that line.
So you see 2 drivers who have stayed out here. That is Kerry Cleaver and Chris Mulhall. Mulhall, of course, has fresh tires. Kerry Cleaver does not. At least not that I'm aware of. So Mulhall will have some older rubber here to take into battle for the final stage. To Kerry Cleaver. Maybe come down this time. Yes, he will. So it'll just be Mulhall putting himself back onto the lead lap.
Tommy, I think Mulhall might have gone 2 laps down.
I think he did go 2 laps down. You're right.
He's still going to be a lap down after he gets around the pace car or the pace truck here.
I think you are correct, because I was just looking for him, and he's down in 23rd. So maybe he did that out of necessity, but certainly not a great position to be in here for the final stage. Not to be Captain Obvious, but you'll have to be on the lead lap at this point in the race. And on the lead lap, 14 drivers. Riley Tilton picked up a speeding penalty, so he'll be at the tail end of the entire field here, but on the lead lap in P14. Brad Slagle, I think, got the lucky dog, so he is in P13. Mike Milfelt in 12th. Charlie Widener 11th. Then Will Kirk, Heath Smith, Christopher Howell, Matt Montebault, and Johnny Hamby through 6th. Andrew Schultz is in 5th. Rob Haynes in 4th. Scott Patton is in 3rd. Justin Michael came out in 2nd, just barely. And James Lehman, the race leader, in dominant fashion here in the opening stage, but a long way to go. This has the potential to be our only caution of the night, but keep in mind, everybody's got fresh tires on right now, and it was a bit of an ice rink at the start of this race. We'll see how the drivers handle it here as we're back to green at Richmond. Good getaway for Lehman. Patton on the inside. Michael looking to rocket around the outside. And Will.
See the same for Johnny Hamby as well, but caught up a little bit there behind Schulte, also pretty loose. Montebault fighting back on the inside. And that one's still not settled. These two are going to have to be careful fighting side by side early on here.
Hamby up top, Montebault on the bottom.
Neither one wanting to give an inch.
James Lehman leading. Michael giving space to his teammate. Scott Patton not returning the favor in kind. He is all over Justin Michael. Lehman with the purple lap up front.
Hamby still working this top side. Finally gets clear of the 21 of Montebault.
So Matt Montebault will fall back into line in P7. Got Heath Smith all over him now. well as Christopher Howell and Will Kirk. That's the top 10. Already 3/4 of a second behind. Justin Michael fading once again from James Lehman.
And again, everything getting kind of single filed out here. A few laps into the run. Going to be like this for a little bit before folks start to decide to either still save kind of aggressively with tires or start pushing.
We'll keep our eye on the battle for the lucky dog here as well. Right now it's Willie Evernham leading Wally Turheimer for that. Go ahead.
We went green on lap 66, and that is exactly breaking this race into third. So drivers looking to go another 66 laps and then finish it out with another 66 laps after that. So this race, even with the stage break, really ended up being exactly what they wanted tire-wise anyways.
Rob Haynes hanging with this group now as well. We mentioned all the race winners this season except for him. Of course, he got his first post-revival victory at Las Vegas. And he's all over Scott Patton, the winner from Phoenix earlier this season.
Curious to see what Schulte does here on this run. Obviously has much better track position to start out than he did at the very start of the race, but has fallen a little bit behind Haynes, but again, maybe by design. We saw Schulte hang back for the first 10 or 15 laps in the first run and then surge.
Charlie Widener looking to sneak into the top 10 here.
He got pretty loose there on entry as well. Back into the truck. Tried to kind of kick around on him there.
And Will Kirk will hang on to 10th for now. Nobody in position here inside the top 10 and just outside to make the moves. But everybody planning ahead. You can't not be.
Yeah, we're just kind of starting to get to the point that drivers might start thinking about pushing it a little bit harder. We're going to be 15 laps into the run this next time around. But still a long ways to go. I mean, you're looking at least 61, 62 laps for you to, I mean, that would be short pitting by 3 or 4 laps if you came in after 61 or 62. Really would like to stretch it maybe a little bit farther. So, lots of differing strategies here, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a couple that might want to go more like 70 to 75 if they can.
Not sure what we missed and when we missed it, but Greg Mall is the last truck running right now in 23rd place, 2 laps down. We do have 3 drivers that are out of this race. Chris Voiles had a problem on the first lap that took him out without a caution. Matt Burkhart and Jack Watts were both running inside the top 10 and had internet disconnections. 14 trucks on the lead lap right now, just the one caution. For the stage break, James Lehman has been the dominator of this race, and he continues to extend his lead. Nearly 2 seconds at this moment in time over his teammates Justin Michael and Scott Patton as the caution is out. Chris Mulhall's around on the front stretch. That is caution number 2.
This is going to change a lot of things.
Mulhall, after pitting under green right before the first stage break there, got one of his 2 laps back, was creeping up into the conversation for the lucky dog when he finds himself around. How does that come to be, though, Matt Williamson?
Well, see him down in the middle of the corner, and the rear end of the truck starts kicking out on him really, really early and tries to just really power through it. Never really gets off the throttle until he knows he's sideways. That was up off of turn 4. Let's take another look at it. Actually, back it up a little bit farther. I mean, these trucks pretty loose on entry that we've seen. A lot of drivers get loose on entry so far here. But let's take a look full speed in the cockpit. And as soon as he gets in the throttle, you can tell it's pretty loose on him. He just tries to keep the power down to see if it'll kind of correct itself, but does not. Ends up going completely sideways in the middle of the track, so that triggers the caution.
His arm was itching. We'll see how he is going to come down pit road this time. So it wasn't a ploy to stay and get the wave around. Everybody came down pit road. And I think for realsies this time, Scott Patton leaped Justin Michael into the pits. Patton right now out in second. James Lehman wins the race off pit road. In the battle for the lucky dog, Willie versus Wally. It was Willie who took the lucky dog. Willie Evernham is back on the lead lap. He makes 15. At least tentatively, until we see if anybody's going to elect the wave around here. But nobody that was on the lead lap stayed out under this caution. Do see a few drivers here still behind the pace truck. Greg Mull is 2 down. Wally Turheimer, Bill Paradise, Kerry Cleaver, they're all 1 down. So they'd get back on the lead lap, and Greg would be 1 lap down here.
I mean, if you're one of these trucks, I mean, you really don't have another option to me. I mean, if you're not in position for lucky dog, I mean, we didn't run a crazy amount of laps. I mean, we ran maybe 20 laps or so right there, maybe a couple more than 20. You just got to kind of get on the lead lap here and try to hang on to it. I know they're not going to be able to come down pit road and get tires, but, I mean, really our pit stop at this point isn't going to be that far away. I mean, I would imagine that the leaders are still going to come down pit road for tires at some point, so yeah, I think this is going to be a necessary gamble for these drivers.
So this will bring 18 drivers onto the lead lap then. And of course, Chris Mulhall, good to continue here. So that means that 19th through 23rd are all the drivers that are still running, and they are now all 1 down. So working just our second caution here tonight. We had 6 last season in a race that was a little bit shorter. But they don't call this the Fasty Fast Racey race for nothing. I hope Will Kirk's getting his money's worth out of that. Doubling up here, it's Lehman and now Patton on the front row for the dart. We're back on our way. Lehman on the outside, Patton getting a bump draft from his teammate. It doesn't go any further than that, luckily. Oh, spinner! It's Howell around, I do believe, in turn number 1, and the caution is back out.
Oh, and a few pile in there. Greg Mall nearly got into it. I think he ended up being all right, but Zachary Groover, I think, has quite a bit of damage plowing into the 88.
He almost got away with it there, but the slide continued down into the back half of the field, and that is what our old friend Darrell Waltrip likes to say is cautions breeding cautions. Howell from the top 10 now, the last driver on the lead lap.
Howell down on the inside. Oh, and gets in way too hot to the corner. He actually hits Matt Montembault on entry into turn 1. And I think maybe checked up. Kind of got himself in a bad spot. Maybe a little herky-jerky of the wheel after he hit the 21. Gets sideways, and yeah, he's on the slide. That's Tilton in the 58. Wow, Tilton's actually able to avoid contact. Milfelt gives him room. Oh, man, the 89.
Yeah, Michael Van has a meatball flag.
Yeah, that's Michael Van. That was a pretty hard shot. And then there's Groover in the 40. Pretty tough one for the 40 as well. Go ahead and back it up again, and we'll do a cockpit this time. As soon as he got up underneath, the Montembault made the contact. That truck went straight sideways. He was trying to turn right, but it was just a little too late. There wasn't much he could do at that point.
So Wally Terheimer, Bill Paradise, Kerry Cleaver, they put all their chips on yellow, and that's where the roulette ball lands. They cash out and get to come and put 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods on, knowing that their gamble just paid off. Unfortunately for Kerry Cleaver, as Christopher Howell was catching up to the field, he had yet to pass Kerry Cleaver, and that is a passing under yellow penalty. Unfortunately, they do not clear black flags in this league, so Kerry Cleaver will probably have a stop-and-go penalty here. So kind of all for naught, and not his fault for sure. And also, more bad news to pass along. Justin Michael, as he was trying to push Scott Patton into a battle for the lead there, I think he let Rob Haynes by on the outside. So Michael now going to line up in 4th on this restart instead of the 3rd that he restarted in after he lost 2nd under the last pit cycle. So again, things just sort of stacking up against Justin Michael here in the middle portion of the race once again.
Well, these couple cautions in a row here has put a majority of the field back on the lead lap now.
Yeah, lucky dog this time is Ryan McRoberts. He'll line up towards the tail of the field, back by Kerry Cleaver. Will still have to come in and serve a penalty, unfortunately. Green flag is back out. James Lehman still up front. Scott Patton in 2nd. Oh, Patton right underneath his teammate. Is there contact? Almost. Lehman holding it down, though.
Rob Haynes, Justin Michael side by side for 3rd as well. Oh, Michael has to split the gap, goes underneath the Patton.
Michael right up the lane, was going to get boxed in there, but says nah. He goes from 4th to 2nd. Here comes Schulte underneath Haynes now to try and take 4th.
Yeah, that was a heads-up piece of driving there for Michael. Knew that he was going to get stuck had a huge run, was barely able to thread the needle.
It was a bold move, and he made it in italics as well to make it fit.
Side by side, further back, Will Kirk, Heath Smith. They're battling for 8th. Rob Haynes having to deal with Andrew Schulten now as well.
This is the first time Schultz has really been in with a chance here, making a lot of moves in the opening portion of this race. Sort of stalled out here once he hit the top 5, but now has a shot. Still looking in that high lane here and diving in the corners.
Smith and Kirk still side by side. Riley Tilton dives underneath a Widener behind them as well. Couple of good battles here.
Riley Tilton, his march has continued after the pit road penalty earlier in the stage break. Tilton looking to crack the top 10. Charlie Widener in the top 10 here as well. And Kirk and Smith still battling hard.
The one good thing about this for the drivers is they don't have to save quite as much. They're really going to have a couple of 50-lap runs here to end it, so they can get a little bit more aggressive here. Kirk and Smith are just not giving it up. They both want this spot bad.
Well, Kirk's been a bit used up here tonight, particularly by Christopher Howell, but Heath Smith ain't going to race you easy, that's for sure. And nor should you here. But I'm sure Kirk is probably a bit annoyed. Gap up front, just a couple of truck lengths between Lehman and Michael. Michael's been steadily reeling in the seemingly untouchable James Lehman up to this point. This is about as even as the playing field is going to get.
And after all that, Smith comes out on top. Unfortunately for Kirk, he now has Charlie Widener and Riley Tilton right behind him, ready to pounce.
It never ends here. It's the conveyor belt. Lehman and Michael, Patton, Haynes, Schultz are the top 5. Hamby, Montalbot, Smith, Kirk, Widener the top 10. They are packed in like sardines from about 7th to 11th. Just as quickly as Justin Michael cut the gap to just 2 truck lengths, it is ballooned back up to 0.6 of a second. And Michael now towing the line between his 2 teammates, Patton in 3rd and Lehman in the lead. I think Lehman programmed a force field behind his truck. That's what it is. So Michael's not been able to breach the gap of just a couple of truck lengths here before he has a big fade.
Closest trucks on the track is still right here in the back half of the top 10. Montalbot, Smith, Kirk, Widener, Tilton, all here together. Things behind them fairly spread out as well.
Right now, Chris Mulhall has the lucky dog spot, and he's got some separation back to Greg Mall. Those are the only two drivers that are one lap down. Gary Cleaver, Michael Van, and Zachary Groover, 2 laps or more down. Groover had to come and serve a lengthy penalty for passing the pace car under the caution. Gap is back up to a second now for Michael, trying to track down his teammate James Lehman, watching him drive away and watching Scott Patton get bigger and bigger in the rear view.
Dolto trying to put the pressure on Haynes. He's got to go outside in. Gets a pretty good run here.
Trying to keep that door open. These two battling hard for position and hard in the points as well. Charlie Widener sandwiched between these two in the points.
Haynes.
Right now 10th in the running order.
Haynes missed his braking zone there, washed up the racetrack. Schulte through to 4th.
Greg Mall, a lap down, just hit pit road.
Oh boy, here we go. Kirk and Smith back at it again. This is just the battle that keeps on giving.
Seems to always be one during a race where the two drivers just can't get away from one another. Oh, one truck nearly up into the wall ahead of them.
That was Michael Van.
That's Michael Van, yeah. I was going to say, it wasn't Matt Montalban, but it was awfully close. And that was awfully close. I mean, Van's up on the wall. Can't get much further away, but that's awfully tight racing there.
Smith able to fend off the 9 of Kirk again for right now. Really doing it. Smith is doing a great job utilizing that top lane to get the momentum down off the corner and keep Kirk at bay.
Well, Greg Mall came in for his pit stop, and he's now the 3rd driver to lag out of this session.
I will say that it was a little choppy for me very early on in the stream as well. I was that does not happen for me very often, so maybe not the best server here tonight for Max Reload.
Well, iRacing of late has had an interesting go-around with that. We had multiple disconnections in our meme session last night. So, who knows? I'm willing to give iRacing the benefit of the doubt, however.
A pretty good track record, I'd say.
Yeah. Justin Michael, 1.3 seconds behind now. Scott Patton in 3rd. Closing in again on Michael. Oh, Charlie Widener. Oh, boy, I thought he was going. He had to make a save, and he had to make it fast. He nearly bent it into the diagonal section of the wall down the backstretch.
Yeah, had to make the save. Gets passed by Tilton. I mean, Widener had gotten right up to the back of Kirk. He's trying to look at a way to make a pass.
That opening right there, if he would have hit that, that would have been it. No doubt about it. Even at like 40 or 50 miles an hour, that would have been toast.
Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay of that one, because that one was pretty interesting. Gets loose. Yeah. Had it pretty well under control, but you're right. Could have been disastrous.
I mean, that's a fine line between looking like it's under control and it being on the rollback. That's the kind of effort you expect from Charlie. He is a wheel man, that's for sure. We've seen him wheel and deal plenty of times here at XV.
He's getting right back after it as well. Pulled right up to the back of the 58 of Tilton.
Nearly equal lap times across our top three. They're all running 22.7s. Schulte a little bit faster in a 22.6, but then it's 2 to 3 to 4 tenths slower outside of that top four. Patton continuing to claw his way up, just inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, trying to track down Justin Michael and launch a bid for second.
Yeah, he's getting closer. But we've already seen pretty difficult to make passes unless somebody makes a pretty good sized mistake or they've burned up the rubber.
So we got going right around the century mark of this race with a 100-lap run potentially to finish this one out. When are you eyeing a pit stop? You looking to split it right up the middle? You looking to take it long?
I mean, I would think that you're looking to pretty much split it in the middle. I mean, they did get a couple of restarts in. I mean, they didn't get very far in either of them. But, you know, maybe instead of looking at 150, maybe looking at more like a 145, somewhere around there. Here comes Patton underneath of Michael.
Happened that quick just in the last couple of laps. Patton able to finish the job with a couple of inches to spare off the front bumper of the 87.
But I think here at Richmond, getting the track position could be pretty important. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start coming down pit road here in about 15 laps.
Well, I think no matter... Whoa! Holy cow. That was coming up on Bell Paradise there. Patton had to roll out of it big time. I think no matter when they're coming down, the first one we're going to see on pit road is probably that 87, if I had to guess. Schulte closing up to Michael now in a hurry after dispatching the 556, of Bill Paradise. It's up over 2 seconds down from Lehman back to Patton in second. Yeah, these guys really have been pushing this entire race. You're right, Goodleaf. That's why we love MXV. They always get after it no matter what.
I was going to say, I think that's the only way they know how.
Yeah. It's our highest strength of field.
Oh, Schulte's going to have a big run here.
Yeah, Michael's in trouble. Christopher Howell going to be the first lead lap driver down pit road here. Go ahead.
We saw that from Michael in the first run as well before the scheduled stage caution. Michael fell for about the last 10 laps of that run. So looking kind of similar here. Michael slipping back again.
This one seems like it hit a bit earlier.
Well, I mean, technically they did come down on lap 85. I mean, they had a couple of restarts in there. Tires are going to behave a little bit differently. So maybe that's affecting Justin Michael here a little bit. Tilton and Will Kirk side
here
by
comes
side.
Michael.
Wow, and this is way earlier than I expected.
Michael, the second lead lap driver down pit road here under this cycle after Christopher Howell a couple of laps ago. Chris Mulhall has decided to call it a night.
Oh, contact between Kirk and Tilton. Kirk nearly got turned down to the outside wall. They went 3 wide trying to get around lap traffic.
Tilton up to 8th.
Yeah. That was almost disaster. Kirk had to make a pretty good save there.
So Michael looking for the undercut here. When do the top three hit pit road?
Michael's got to hope that caution doesn't fly either. Otherwise, he's going to be trapped.
Yes, it almost did. It was awfully close.
You're right.
Who's to say it can't happen again here as Widener, Kirk, and some lap traffic and Riley Tilton all still jumbled up here.
Oh, getting three.
Oh, boy.
Again. Wow. Tilton just about got right reared there by the lap traffic, but it kind of was sliding up towards it. No fault of the traffic.
Heath Smith and Brad Slagle down pit road. Smith didn't want any part of that.
Here comes Scott Patton as well. Okay, so
here we go.
The couple of restarts that we had on these tires must really be hurting them.
Well, Kirk and Johnny Hamby, Willie Evernham, all lead lap drivers here. Yet to see James Lehman or Andrew Schultz, the race leader and the driver who was P4 at the start of this pit cycle. Here comes Lehman. Schultz are going to bypass at least for one more go-around here. That's kind of the luxury that James Lehman had built in. No pressure from behind, not under immediate duress here to answer the undercut from Patton. But a clean stop is needing to happen here.
Where will Justin Michael cycle out? He's had quite a few laps to try and make up some ground here.
I am showing Justin Michael ahead of Scott Patton right now, but Patton, much fresher tires. The gap is what's going to be important there. Lehman is out.
Here comes Scott Patton. Not able to get to Lehman. Lehman's going to come out in front.
Still need to work some temperature into these tires. But Lehman is ahead, and some slower traffic between is only going to balloon that gap more. Ryan McRoberts, Riley Tilton onto pit road.
That gap for Justin Michael, only 2.7 seconds. I know that seems like a lot, but when we get down to the later stages of this run, I think Michael is really going to feel the effects of that older rubber.
It might be the theory of track position. James Lehman's had it all night. Justin Michael hasn't been able to burst that bubble, so to speak. Again, much older tires, but will clean air prevail? Only time's going to tell.
There goes Rob Haynes past Bill Paradise. Paradise has yet to come down pit road.
So has Andrew Schulte and Charlie Widener, Mike Milfelt as well. Those are the top three. Schulte I'm a bit surprised by. He is losing some time here, for sure. 22 9s for Schulte and 21 6s for Lehman. I mean, almost the purple lap of the race last time by.
Maybe Schultz, now with the points lead, feels like he could take some more gambles.
He also does have everybody else trapped a lap down at this point. Everybody except for Widener and Milfeld. Bill Paradise coming down pit road this time.
Well, here comes Justin Michael right up behind Schultz, so Michael going to get himself back on the lead lap here shortly.
Yeah, look at this. A 22-0 versus a 22-9. And Schulte puts the block on him. I don't know if he meant to, but certainly forced Michael's hand to go right up to the wall.
And that's only helping James Lehman. Lehman is closing in on Michael really quickly.
Yeah, it's under a second now, just about. Scott Patton hanging with Lehman right now. He's a second behind. Schulte continuing to get in the way of his teammates who are battling for the win here. I mean, Schulte's bet is made. We don't really have a clean look at the fuel number here to see maybe if he can logistically stretch it on fuel the rest of the way, but I can't imagine keeping a set of tires under you for that long, even if you could.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it might be possible to make it on fuel, but I mean, that's like a 1.7 stints of the original number we were kind of looking at going into tonight. So.
Is that all?
Yeah.
170% tire wear.
So, for position farther back, Willie Evernham getting underneath of Christopher Howell.
We're about to have a battle for what is second currently on the track as well. Charlie Widener just hit the wall, and it's opened the door for Mike Milfelt to close right up. Again, top three still yet to come down pit road.
Here comes Lehman. He is caught Justin Michael.
Lehman had to take Justin Michael had to take a big swing on the strategy here to get himself into this position to get James Lehman back in the pack. Here comes Andrew Schulte down pit road, and here comes Lehman to the inside for what will be the race lead once everything gets cycled out.
Well, this is what Scott Patton wants to see. He wants to see these two get to battling.
Michael on the older rubber, on the outside. Lehman, the dominator of this race, can't finish the pass off. Lap traffic ahead. How hard will Lehman push it?
Michael's hanging in there. I'm not sure he'll be able to on this one, though.
A surge ahead for James Lehman, who needs the freedom here through lap traffic. He'll take it. Lehman to P3. It will be for the lead once Widener and Milfelt pit. They're battling for the lead right now. They're within half a second of one another.
By the way, Schulte out of the pits currently sits in 12th.
Oof.
He is 16 seconds behind James Lehman, but lots of traffic to go through to get there as well.
And much fresher tires. Here come the top two, Widener and Milfelt, so they will give up the lead to James Lehman officially now. Like he never lost it. Patton once again closing in on Justin Michael. They have 5 seconds back to Rob Haynes, so they're not in danger of losing the podium positions just yet. We'll have to see what kind of life Andrew Schulte is rocking in these tires once we get to the end of the run.
Schulte's caught in some traffic right now.
Through Tilton, that's for position. He's got Matt Montenbalt ahead as well. That'll be for position. So that's a 2-for-1 special for Schulte down the back stretch. That puts him up to P8. Still a long ways to go.
Second. Patton will dive underneath of Michael.
Patton looking to clear out of 4. Doesn't happen just yet. But now will. Justin Michael resigned to third on the wild pit strategy here. Tried to trigger the undercut. It's not going to plan just yet. Now 39 laps to go. Gap is a 2.25 seconds from Lehman to Patton. Michael in third, Haynes in fourth. And Johnny Hamby right now in the top 5.
Schultz has caught Will Kirk as well. That's going to be an easy pass on the fresher rubber for the 81.
So Schultz back to 7th. He's got a second up to Heath Smith. Then the gaps start getting bigger and bigger from there.
Yeah, gaps under 13 seconds up to the leaders, so has gained about 3.5, maybe 4 seconds in the last 8 laps or so. I mean, that is significant.
Well, he went half a second up on James Lehman this last lap. Far and away the fastest driver on the track.
And
Pete Smith going to stay to the top side.
I kind of like this call from Schulte, because Schulte likes to be on the offensive. Basically has put himself in a position where he does not have to worry about tire wear at all here in the remaining laps, and he can just push as hard as he needs to.
So 2.5 up to Johnny Hamby to put himself in the top 5. And we'll have gaps of 4 seconds and 4 seconds to try and get himself up to the podium after that. Gap is ballooning up front. Scott Patton is falling 2 seconds behind James Lehman. Lehman on cruise control at this point.
Montenbolt just got by Riley Tilton to get up to 9th. Tilton's still hanging in there in the top 10, though.
Yeah, big drive here tonight for Riley Tilton. Remember, started all the way back at the tail of this field.
Patton got to be a little bit careful as drivers with fresh rubber coming through. That's Michael Milfeld.
Milfeld trying to track down Charlie Widener to be in the lucky dog position. Of course, they're both coming up on James Lehman to unlap themselves anyway.
Schulte nabs another spot, blasted by Johnny Hamby. Schulte's gap up to get a podium position away from Justin Michael is 7 seconds. He's starting to feel the effects of tire wear a little bit now, though. His lap times have started to fall off a little bit. The drivers in front of him with the older rubber have kind of plateaued a little bit.
22.6 for the race leader, 22.3 for Schulte last time by. 22.7s and 8s for the drivers ahead of Schulte as well.
Riley Tilton fighting back to get the 9th. Oh, washes up the racetrack. Tilton not giving it up, though. Good battle between these two.
Two of the newcomers here to Max V that have been spending a lot of time in the top 10s here through the weeks already. Tilton's had some bad luck finishing these races, but spends most of his time in the top 10 when he is running. I'd like to polish one off tonight. Lehman is doing his best, no matter what Andrew Schultz is doing, to get away from the rest of the field. He's nearly ahead by 3 seconds over Scott Patton.
Yeah, Lehman's just on another planet right now compared to everybody else. He has 13 or 14 lap older tires than Schultz and is running almost the same lap times here and there.
I think Schultz heard you say that because he just turned it on. He went 6/10 up last time.
Right there.
Yeah. He says he listens to us, and I can't apologize enough for that. I think maybe he's listened to us enough to where we're employing some telepathy at this point.
There goes Milfeld on the fresher rubber. He gets by Evernham to get up to 12th. He's still got, Widener is well within striking distance, but Widener and Milfeld are on the same strategy. They're going to be a little bit tougher to get up to 11th there for Milfeld.
Crucially, if the caution were to come out, they're all on the same lap now, or on the lead lap, rather. Schulte closing in on Rob Haynes. That'll be fourth. Haynes 3.5 seconds behind Justin Michael, who's fading back from Scott Patton. But Haynes not making up much time on Michael. Zachary Groover on and off pit road.
Schulte up to the back of the 199. Will the 199 make it easy? Not going to.
Why would he?
I don't blame him, but nothing that Rob Haynes is going to be able to do. Schulte through on the bottom.
Got to at least try. So Schulte for a podium needs to make up 3 1/4 tenths. And his pace would suggest that that is well in play here. Justin Michael on the oldest tires on the track, other than Christopher Howell. Gap came down a little bit from Lehman to Patton. It's right around 2 seconds. It's stabilized, but it did come down.
Patton is just being ultra consistent right now. I think he ran a 22.81 like 3 laps in a row. And has now fallen off a 22.82 this time around.
Oh. That time a little bit quicker. 22.84 versus a 22.83 for Patton. I mean, 100th of a second in the grand scheme of things isn't going to do a whole lot, but better than being slower.
Here's another battle. Montalban and Tilton going at it again. But now Charlie Widener on fresher tires has put himself in the conversation.
Well.
Oh, my, this could get ugly. They got lap traffic in front of them as well.
Yep, they're going 3 wide.
We're 4 wide.
4 wide. Oh. That's Montalban right down on the side there of Tilton. That was close.
That is what you call a 2-for-1 special. 4 wide, Widener gets 2 positions out of it.
Schulte a 1.5 seconds behind Justin Michael. Seems all but inevitable here, even with only right around 15 laps to go. And Schulte is at least going to launch a bid here for third, if not just take it. Gap opening back up front.
It has been the James Lehman show tonight, that is for sure.
Truly and honestly. Got a couple of poles here this season. Got wrecked out of Bristol after leading a lot of laps. Didn't even get to turn a lap in his first pole at Las Vegas. $14 laps to go for James Lehman. Michael Milfelt gets around Matt Montalban to get into the top 10. And Andrew Schulte right here for a spot on the podium. It's 4 seconds from third to second, so going to be hard-pressed to reel in Scott Patton from here. But it's already quite the impressive drive considering how much longer he stayed out and how much ground he's had to make up. Schulte to the inside. And Andrew Schulte wiggles it all the way up the track, but will take third. Gap is closing again between Lehman and Patton. maybe there's life still in the 46 camp.
Yeah, and the lap times for those two have just kind of started to fall. Lehman's been in the 22.9s the last 2 or 3 laps. Patton was still in the 22.8s until that last time around, but was still able to gain some time on Lehman.
Yeah, Patton's last 3 laps have been faster than Lehman's. The gap went from 2 1/4 to 1 3/4. Right about the same that time. Inside of 10 laps to go for James Lehman. Staring down the barrel of his first post-revival Max V victory. So many things can go wrong here in the final laps. Oh, right in front of Lehman. Matt Montalban just pounded the wall, still battling with Riley Tilton.
Charlie Widener's going to end up getting around Will Kirk as well, so Widener going to be able to get up to 8th.
This race will be over in 3 minutes. If we make it the rest of the way. Maybe the longest 3 minutes of Lehman's life here. Open the next one he sees as the white flag. 6 to go. Johnny Hamby and Heath Smith have gotten kind of close together here. That'll be the battle for 6. They're just wanting to stay ahead of Charlie Widener, I'm sure. Andrew Schultz's progress has stalled. His lap times are pretty well in line with Scott Patton. So Schultz may be settling here for 3rd. After a whale of a drive to get up there. Gap continuing to open back up front. James Lehman leading Scott Patton by 2 seconds. Two and a quarter miles to go. Heath Smith getting by Johnny Hamby here.
Oh, Lehman got awful loose there.
Lehman's getting a bit hung up here by Riley Tilton. This will be the white flag lap. Gap is down to a 1.5 seconds. 3/4 of a mile to go for James Lehman to bring it home. And in the Fasty Fast Racey race here at Richmond Raceway, it's finally time for James Lehman to take home the win in the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series. Lehman with the win at Richmond.
Good battle here. Will Kirk, Michael Milfelt battling it out for 9th. Oh, Kirk's going to get it.
Two 100s at the line there.
A lot of love being shown to the 50.
James Lehman has put in a lot of damn work here for this league. It's about time he gets to celebrate as a race winner after coming close many a time.
just about pulled a Chris Buescher down there on the infield grass. Would have been fitting. Last Cup race at Richmond was won by Chris Buescher. Yeah, I think James is going to be pretty jacked up about this one. That was as dominant a performance as we've seen here in the CNC Home Designs Truck Series.
He usually tells me how he thinks he's going to do before the race. Nary a comment about his chances tonight when we spoke earlier. I think maybe he knew. So it was probably better not to talk about it. And the Polish victory lap to top it off here. 5th different winner here this season. It's the first post-revival victory in the Maximum Velocity Truck Series for James Lehman, the league admin. You know, Lehman puts up his own money here, too. Lehman's Mega Money Mania tonight is going to go to the 13th place finisher, Willie Evernham. I think Lehman's going to do burnouts for the rest of the night.
Well deserved.
Indeed. He'll find victory lane here, and we'll get you the full finishing rundown. James Lehman with the win. Scott Patton did make it close there at the end, but he'll settle for second. Andrew Schulte with a whale of a drive to bring it back onto the podium. We'll talk to these three gentlemen momentarily. 4th place, and I'm sure another disappointing evening here for Justin Michael. Rob Haynes will round out the top 5. Heath Smith will take 6th there in the closing stretch. Johnny Hamby, P7. Charlie Widener, P8. Will Kirk and Mike Milfelt, the top 10. Riley Tilton, the last driver on the lead lap there, was given Lehman fits, but we'll bring it home on the lead lap in P11. Matthew Monsabault will finish in 12th. Willie Evernham in 13th. Brad Slagle in 14th. Christopher Howell, P15. Wally Turheimer, the last driver, 1 lap down in P16. 17th for Ryan McRoberts. 3 down in 18th is Bill Paradise. Kerry Cleaver in 19th. Michael Van in 20th. Zachary Groover in 21st. DNFs for Chris Mulhall in 22nd. Greg Mull in 23rd. Jack Watson 24th. Matt Burkhart in 25th. And Chris Voiles, whose race never really got going, unfortunately got caught up in a first lap accident, will finish down in 26th. Time to talk to your podium finishers, and it's back-to-back interviews here in Booth 200 for Andrew Schulte. What a drive to get yourself back onto the podium there. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, it looked like, the run had stalled out there as you charged up to the to challenge for the podium spots there, but what prompted the massive overcut there?
In the case that there might have been a caution, I guess. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to where the tire fall off kind of evened out. But with the lap time that I was running, even when everyone pitted, I ran, an extra 15 laps, and the lap time didn't change. So figure, if I can keep running consistently here, I guess we'll see where that ends up. If I started to have drop off, I was going to come down, and kind of had that towards the end. And I just think it's easier once versus trying to run through slow cars, or trying to run around like, for example, Lehman and Justin and whatnot. They had to pass me while I was out there, and I, being the leader, feel like I don't really have to give much of an inch. Like, I'm just running my line, versus I'd rather come through the field with tires and have an easier time that way of passing everyone at the end, versus trying to manage what I have and keep pace with the leaders at that point, and just see, what surprise comes out at the end, because I didn't know what was going to happen. But it's always, I guess that puts a little more fun into it, of seeing, okay, what can I do with this here at a deficit.
Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, congrats on your drive through the field. I mean, you kind of had to drive your way through the field there in the first run as well, before we came to the caution, the stage break there. How do you come to approach something like that? Because you're kind of going to have to save tires a little bit, but you're also going to have to try and push for track position as well. How do you approach that first stint there?
Yeah, I mean, we ran pretty generously for the first probably 10, maybe 12 laps. Once I saw, I think it was the 88 and starting to creep up on me and Milfeld there, then I kind of figured, like, okay, if someone else is pushing, maybe it's time that I start making some moves and see where the tires are at. And the even out, like, lap time seemed to be around, like, 35 or 40 is when, like, your pace just kind of flatlined. So I felt like I had a little bit of an advantage there. But obviously not qualifying, it's not an awful qualifying spot, but not qualifying up in the top 5, that kind of puts you in a different spot of what to do. Had I qualified up there, then kind of do what I did with the other runs and just push and stay kind of in touch with the leaders. Versus starting back there is just managing it and knowing that the caution is going to come out after some time, just keeping the corners on it.
Well, congrats on another podium here. I think you're going to extend your points lead after all is said and done tonight. So, good things coming out of Richmond tonight. Shout-outs for you.
Patented paints as always. Turn 200 crew. Looking forward to it. Good to see Scott got two second places tonight in a row. So, shout out to him. He's doing great with that consistency. And Bandit Motorsports teammates, good to see Justin with the top 5 here on our individual Bandit team. Kerry wound up 16th, I think, or nope, 19th. Yeah, he ran into some issues, and but hopefully a decent points night with Justin and I up here to average that out, and the whole rest of the Bandit crew and wife and kids.
All right, partner. Appreciate the time, and congrats on the result. We'll talk to you again here soon.
Thank you, sir.
I can't drag. There we go. I don't know why it wouldn't let me drag him. But regardless, Andrew said it already, but I'll steal his joke. It's an average finish to second here tonight for Scott Patton. But the podium that pays out the points here tonight, Scott Patton with the P2. Congrats.
Thanks. One of the more frustrating ones for sure. I wasn't even thinking about points. I mean, I guess I should find some optimistic way to look at it. But yeah, that was a frustrating one. But yeah, happy for P2. James, certainly the class of the field up there. That was a lot of work. You know what came to mind around lap 80? I was like, man, I am working my butt off. This reminds me of frickin' Brazil. Like, it had those vibes to it. I'm sweating my ass off, but yeah, hats off to James up there. Good top 5 here, it looks like, for Bandit Motorsports, and happy to move on to, I guess, another short trek next week, Martinsville. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like the pace just, not just for you, but for everybody in the field, James included, was just yo-yoing all over the place. Times were coming and going left and right. Is that what the frustrating part was? Was it just manhandling the truck around the short track here? What was the final nail in the coffin here?
It was both mental and physical. The first run, I kind of went with the game plan of knowing we had the stage break at 60. So I was going to let those guys run and just sit comfortably in third and not lose too much track position, but kind of let them run and then see at what pace I can maybe bring them back to me at the end of the stage, because that's pretty much a fuel run at 60 laps, a full fuel run. And what ended up happening is James shot out there like a cannon, 3.5, 4 seconds out front, and then I never dialed him in. Like, I could maybe get pace with them at the end of the run, like click off some equal laps, but certainly not enough to make up that 3 or 4 second difference. So that was frustrating. So then from then on, after the green flag flew for the second stage there, I kind of told myself, well, screw it. We're just going to hammer down, and like he's been doing, because the tires don't seem to fall off that much. And that's kind of what we did. But James did a whole lot more efficient and just all around better job than I ever could. So we tried, but fell short there.
Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, congrats on the P2 here. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that would be frustrating. I mean, it was kind of weird. I feel like this isn't something that we see on very many tracks where once you get to a certain point, the tires just kind of plateau and you really can't run any faster or slower when you get there. So it's almost like an all-out dash to get to that point, and then it's just kind of riding around. I mean, that's certainly different than I feel like we see other places. Pretty unique.
Yeah, certainly. Like I said, with that gap, that's why like track position just meant so much. Like when I got to Justin's bumper, for instance, I knew I couldn't waste time getting around him. Or even lap cars. I think that's where some of the frustration came with lap cars, because they don't necessarily see it that way or understand what the battle for the lead is and how critical every tenth of a second is, for exactly that reason. So it just gets frustrating when the lap cars sometimes get you off the corner, or you catch them in a bad spot. But no fault of theirs. They're racing their own race, obviously, but it's just frustrating because every tenth matters when you're chasing somebody as good as James up there. So yeah, that gap kind of is what it is, and you almost got to fire your shots when you can. That's why on the restart, I think after one of the yellows, if I remember right, I gave James a dive to the inside pretty aggressively, and it certainly probably appeared to be super aggressive for however many laps we had left, 60, 80 laps, whatever we had left. But the idea was I knew that if I could get in front of him, I had a much better shot, and that was my chance. And I knew that if I didn't get it then, he was going to walk away from me just like he did. So, yeah, it was a fun time all around.
Well, there you go. Shout-outs for you here today.
Do you got the purple truck up there? Which one did you see tonight?
We got the Nuke.
purple. Yeah, we had the
Luke the Nuke. Yeah, why not?
We had the green one earlier tonight, I think, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So I changed in between. I just didn't know if it would update in time or how that would work. But yeah, we got Luke the Nuke on there. Like I said, just because I like darts and no other good reason. And he actually won tonight, the tournament out in, I don't know, England or wherever it was. But yeah, and I guess the New England Racing Museum up here in the Northeast. Weather's getting warmer, and Dick Berggren should be making his way up from Florida here in another month or so. And look forward to that season up there. If you're ever by the area, check them out. It's on the grounds of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And you guys turned 200. We brought out the purple for you guys, too. Turned 200. You guys do a kick-ass job up there every single week. So appreciate all your help with that race earlier tonight that we saw. And certainly every week, quality stuff coming out from you guys. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the time. Congrats on the P2. We'll talk to you again here soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
And in the words of Matt Williamson, we're about to have a pumped-up driver here in Booth 200. For the first time here on a Thursday night as a race winner, it's James Lehman, the big cheese here at Max V. And tonight, the big winner at Richmond. Congrats on the win, partner.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, there were points where I was questioning whether it was just clean air, but as this race went along, it just became apparent that there was a better driver sitting in truck number 50 than any other trucks here tonight. I mean, yeah, that's basically all there is to it, unless I'm missing something crucial here.
No, this is just I'm mainly a short track racer, and I love Richmond. It's one of my favorite tracks to race at. So it's like I know it like the back of my hand. So I know every little trick about it and how to stay fast and how to stay consistent doing it.
I mean, there were points where Justin Michael got within 2/10 or 3/10 of you, but magically, he just was not able to get around you. It seems like he just hit a wall. Scott Patton gave you all that you could handle there on one of those restarts. Was diving, riding right on the quarter panels there. You were able to fend him off. I mean, you got quite the barrage from your teammates here tonight, but you held strong.
Yeah, when Scott went there for the move, I'm not gonna lie, my butthole puckered a little bit. I wasn't prepared for that. I even said it in the chat. I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, I wasn't ready for it. And then it said inside. I was like, "Wait, what?" Okay. So, but no, it definitely was fun, and I did appreciate all the respect from all the drivers tonight too, as well from it.
Matt, what do you got here for our race winner?
Yeah, congrats on the race win. I mean, that is as dominant of a performance as we've really seen from anybody here in the CNC Home Designs Truck Series. But with that, at a short track, you got to work through lap traffic as well. And Looked like there were a couple hairy points there for you. How was working through traffic out front for you tonight?
There was a couple that were just freaked me out. Especially one was Michael. I wasn't prepared for him to be right there coming off the corner, and it caught me, and I was like, oh, if I hit you, I'm gonna hit you hard. And then especially there at the end with Riley. No complaints to Riley. He was running a different line that was making him fast. I just couldn't get around him, so I just backed off and just let him run his race. Luckily, it wasn't too much for Scott to catch me. But it definitely is a challenge running. When you catch lap traffic and then having to work your way around them, but once you start running into that lap traffic where you're just slightly faster than them, but at this track, it's kind of hard to pass them without touching them. At some point.
It's a long awaited trip to Victory Lane here for you on Thursday nights. We've got you a win elsewhere on Turn 200 competition, but this is your first post-revival Max V victory here tonight. So you get all the time here to give your shout-outs and your acceptance speech on the award, and have at it.
Well, actually, funny fact is this is my first win ever actually in max velocity.
Really?
Yeah, I went back and I looked at the archives. I never won a race in maximum velocity. I was always the highest. I was second. That second was to Justin at Martinsville.
Wow.
I never won one. So, thank you guys. Thank you, Turn 200. You guys put on an outstanding broadcast, and I'm glad to see that Turn 200 is growing every week with more and more subscribers and live viewers. And I'm glad that we have that great partnership. And thanks to everybody that showed out tonight. And I'm looking forward to Martinsville next week, where it's really a real short track, and it's going to be a lot more bumping.
Now, my final question to you is, do you regret letting Will name this race the Fasty Fast Racey race, now knowing that you won the race?
No, I think I might let him name which one he wants to name next, so we'll see how it goes. I think this name was actually kind of funny, and then it started growing on me. So I think for the next Richmond race, I think we'll just call it the Fasty Fast Racey Race 2. So I think we'll leave it at that. Keep it a tradition.
Well, that name's going on the trophy, and so is your name. Congrats on the win here tonight. Go party hard. We'll hopefully talk to you again next week in Martinsville.
Oh, for sure. I'll make sure of it.
There you go.
Take care.
All righty, partner. Let's put a stamp on the evening here. First of all, I owe you an apology. I didn't realize in our bottom ticker there that I apparently spelled your name Mac instead of Mac.
I just realized that as well while we were sitting here doing interviews.
So hopefully you enjoyed 2 nights in a row of going under an alias. But all right, Mac, give me your final thoughts on the evening here.
Yeah, I mean, this was an interesting race for sure. I mean, this was a little bit different than what we've seen so far. I mean, we've just seen outstanding battles for the lead, but tonight, I mean, James was just the unbelievable class to the field. So certainly a little bit of a different look, but still really good action throughout the field. I mean, the back half of the top 10 was just a revolving door of folks all night. The pit strategy there towards the end after having the cautions come out was pretty interesting as well. So just great stuff here on Thursdays, week after week. Thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of it. Good Leaf Archives, of course, Michelle Kirk, Martha Turheimer, Shelley Mall, Simulator Life. You guys were hanging out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope that you enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys on Sunday.
Absolutely. We'll see you at Alton Park here for the Mission Art Challenge Top Split Strength of Field broadcast right around 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. That's what we got coming up. That'll be an exciting race. I raced in the Thursday Top Split today, and it was rather difficult. Alton Park proven to be a challenge here with the traction control setting on that car. Very difficult indeed. And then that's all we got for you until we roll back around here to Thursday, unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am, though. Thursday night next week, we'll be back at Martinsville, which was quite the spectacle last season. It always is the spectacle here, regardless of the league here on iRacing. Another can't-miss night of racing for the Max V CNC Home Designs Truck Series next Thursday night. to be sure that you are here on time for everything that we got coming up here in the weeks and months ahead. Be sure to hit subscribe on your way out of the stream here tonight. Every little bit helps us in our quest to get to 1K subs. A lot of cool doors open when we get to 1K. We appreciate everybody that has been here along the way on our journey up to the 1K mark. And that's about all we got for you here tonight, I do believe. So, for everybody with the Maximum Velocity Racing League, thank you to CNC Home Designs, and thank you to the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson. Until we meet again, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long from virtual Richmond Raceway, where James Lehman stands tall in the Fasty Fast Racey Race 150. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.